Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 37, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week, and as ever let's crack on. First one is the Eplant Treetag. This is a solar powered tree tag that you put into your tree. Obviously you've all got trees, and it lets you know how well your tree is doing. So it will do things like how much light it's got, whether it needs water, if it's stressed, if it's got any bugs in it, that sort of thing. And it will communicate all this through a chat interface. So you can have a chat with your tree and you can say, hey, what do you need? It'll say, look, I need another 2 gallons of water, and you rush out with your hose and that's what you do. So there you go. It's currently on offer, early bird or whatever it's called. It's $100 off. It's $149 for the kit and $79 thereafter for each tag. If you need one of those, you know what to do. This is Daktronics, one of the big players in the billboard space, and they have a very simple solution to quite a tricky organic problem. So this is, how do you restrict who sees your billboard? And then this might need to be restricting it from traffic seeing it, or possibly only traffic seeing it and the people who live nearby not seeing it. That sort of thing. It's all about light pollution. Very simple solution here is you put little slats or louvers in front of your billboard so that when you go to a certain angle, you can see the billboards. If you go past it, then they start to get in the way and reduce the light. So I like that. It's a really, really simple thing. That's called LightDirect billboards. As I say, very simple solution to actually what has up until this point been quite a tricky problem. There you go. A lot of big companies are not worried, but they're nervous about using generative AI just because they can't guarantee that the output is, let's say, copyright free, because you can't guarantee what the input training was from. So we've seen a lot of images that maybe have vestigial parts or very obvious parts of its training data. So Microsoft have come out and said, look, if you use their Copilot and you are a paying customer and other terms and conditions apply, i.e. you've done it all within the bounds of what they set out, then they will guarantee, or at least they will cover any copyright judgments against you should it happen through the output of Copilot. So if you are a customer of Microsoft and you're paying, then they've got your back essentially. So there you go. Obviously the paying part of it is the important bit there. But if you're challenged by copyright, they'll take on the case. This is me. This is not me. This is actually a virtual avatar. Reported on this a couple of weeks ago, and HeyGen, who have this new product called Instant Avatar, and they are now opening it up to beta, and this is me playing with it. So the way this works is you do either one of two things. You can either just have the avatar, or you can have the avatar with your voice being cloned as well. If you just want the avatar, then it is 30 seconds worth of looking into a camera. If you would like the cloned voice, then that's 2 minutes of audio. You basically just read a story on the screen and follow that, and it then generates your voice. It is actually quite impressive. So there you go. Now, why would you want one of these? Well, you can either choose one of the off-the-shelf avatars, and it can be doing all of your sales spiel for you, or if you would like you to be in a video, or maybe dynamically generated videos saying thank you to your customers or whatever, then this is what you would need it for. So signed up a couple of weeks ago. It's now open for beta, and it is quite interesting. This is in partnership news, and this is Heinz, obviously, and UK decorating, I don't know, interior decorating company, Lick. Not heard of them, but obviously they're doing some cool stuff and they're up for this sort of thing, so well done you. They have created 570, obviously of the 57 varieties, 570 limited edition cans of Heinz Red. So this kind of slightly pale, slightly pastel-y red, that is Heinz Ketchup Red. So if you really want your house to be Heinz Ketchup Red, you know where to go. £45 for a 2.5 litre thing. As I say, only 570 of them. So if you want to do your whole house, then head over to there quite soon. This was actually came about through, I was researching games, and especially driving games, and how do they actually generate the sounds. And one of the things that came up was about engine noises and how terrible they are in a lot of games. And I found this thing called the Engine Simulator, which allows you to generate engine sounds, and it uses fluid dynamics to accurately make engines go faster and slower, and therefore you can generate the sound real time, and it makes really good engine noises. So if you're on a 4-cylinder, for instance, or if you're on an 8-cylinder or twin, whatever, it does that work. Now, the creator of it, who's actually Onge, I think is actually how you say that, said, well, why don't we try and do something a little bit weird, and generated a trumpet. So 3D modeled a trumpet and used exactly the same technology as actually used the engine generator to then make some flappy lips, and the rest of it is basically in the video. It does actually sound like a trumpet, so there you go. So I thought that was really interesting about using one thing for another thing, and just showing that how flexible this is as well. If you wondered how you do sounds in video games, then head along to, or at least Google the Engine Simulator by Onge, and you will be amazed by it if you're into that sort of thing, obviously. Now this is, and finally, this is one of those things where like, palm face. This actually came to me by a friend of mine, Asa Bailey, who is a virtual production person, and found this this comment really on the Runway ML forums, basically saying that now that we've got the new version of Runway ML, we can now do these really interesting things, but we'd like some more access to the camera features, things like dollying in, maybe tracking, all those sorts of things. Now, if you do say dolly in, it literally puts Dolly Parton in your shot, which is obviously not what's expected. So there's just just beware if you're using any of these image generators at the moment, it might not go quite so well. So literally, if you say dolly in or dolly left, it will literally put dolly on the left of your scene. So there you go. Just thought it was funny, something to end with that was a little bit lighter this week. There you go. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a share, give it a like, share it with somebody awesome at work, and I'll speak to you next week.